So there are quite a few tools that you can do or you can use to help create this culture, or I guess make this culture stronger in your distance learning environment. And you really have to choose the tools that kind of are tools that you would use in your face-to-face environment, simply because you're trying to show the kids who you are. And if you do dorky things in with them in class face to face, then you're going to want to do dorky things in your distance learning environment. If you like to talk sports in class, then you're going to want to include that somehow in your distance learning environment. So kind of keep in mind what you usually encompass in a face-to-face environment, and we're going to see how we can strategically incorporate that. So some of the tools that you can use are polls, discussions, feedback forms, and I'll show you one on the next one, and shout outs. And I'm going to show you a couple of ideas of these just from what I've used in the past, but there are so many ideas on the internet. Go to Pinterest, go to some of the blogs that I show you at the end, go to Facebook, and there are so many creative people out there that can help you. Add personal flair, gifs and memes. Now we have a little bit more access than the students do, but the students still love trying to find the ones that they can. So letting them incorporate gifs and memes in their assignments. If you can incorporate it in in your assignments or your announcements, go for it. Emojis, Bitmojis, and stickers. So if you're on social media, you may have seen that Bitmojis have really taken off this spring, summer quarantine season. Someone said it's like creating Bitmoji classrooms are like the new Sims for teachers, and it just kind of sucks you in and you can go through a black hole. But there are so many cool features that you can do with Bitmojis, and it can be really creative and very engaging for students. If you go to Katie Shelton's professional development on visual appeal. She talks a lot about Bitmojis, and we'll show you how to do some of these in particular. But here's some examples here. Hopefully I'm in the right one. So here's an example of an agenda I had. And so this is me. I'm kind of, we talk about books. I have a classroom, even though I'm a science teacher, I have a classroom library that students borrow from. Girl power. I always talk about that with the girl scientists. I am Team Hufflepuff, so I try to incorporate that. And so this is ways that I can kind of include a little bit of who I am. Here's Jafar and Hishi, or Mushu, I mean. Hishi's the nickname. And so this is just kind of a way that I can create an environment with Bitmojis. Using music. If you're a science teacher, there's Science Rap Academy, Science with Tom. And so we do a lot of cheesy parodies and rap music in our normal class. So I try to find as many as I can to share with them in the distance learning classroom as well. We did countdowns. Okay, countdowns, 2 e-learning days left. We had a jam board getting ready for summer break, kind of like this is how we used it. And I think a few people in our science department did, how we used Bitmoji Classroom and Jamboard to sort of get a feel for what the students thought about the last quarter of the grading period. It was sort of the reflection board. Notice if you can include yourself in video, please do so. Now, I'm not including myself in video on a lot of these. My rule of thumb is I do a lot of videos. I do a lot of audio. I'm there all the time. If I'm clicking and going back and forth to things, though, I like to not include my face simply because sometimes the webcam is here, sometimes it's down at the bottom, and so it can kind of block some of your fields of vision. So if I'm going to be going to different websites and clicking on things, then sometimes I will not have my face. If I'm just going to be talking to the students, maybe doing the daily announcement, which I would highly suggest that you do a daily announcement, just, hey, how's it going, everyone? Oops. Sorry. Hey, how's it going, everyone? It is Friday, 5/22, or it's May 20th. Go ahead and put your face in there. Studies, that's such a broad disclaimer, but it has been shown that a halfway good video with you in it is more engaging and invokes more buy-in from the students than some of these really fancy YouTube videos that people just curate and create because that's their professional job. I love Paul Anderson as a science teacher from the Bozeman series. I love Amoeba Sisters, and we use that a lot for content. But, and I always tell the students, if I didn't teach, I would love to do that for my career. And I'm really jealous that the Amoeba Sisters can draw and they jumped on that bandwagon, really quickly, or I would have jumped on that bandwagon. But the students still like to listen to me. They still request me over Amoeba Sisters and Bozeman, even though I know both are better quality than when I lecture. And that's okay. Okay. They want their teacher to be there. So try to do that as much as possible. If you're not putting your face in it, your voice is there, you can do audio clips, etc. Try to engage them in things that aren't necessarily academic related, or maybe combine the two. So for instance, I almost clicked on this for Mother's Day. We did a Mother's Day challenge. Now, not everybody has a mother, so you have to understand that. So it wasn't a Mother's Day challenge as much as it was a favorite person that takes care of you or looks after you challenge. And so what they had to do actually was choose something to be nice and be kind and show this person, this adult in their family, how much they appreciated them, whether it was trying to take the sheets and fold the fitted sheet into a perfect square, or seeing which paper towel left the few, or paper towel versus coffee filter, which left the fewest streaks on the window. So there was some science involved, but the idea is that they were also doing something kind to someone else. And so that's always a good way to go too. Daily fun challenges. Maybe you want to do it academic. Like, can you find 3 acute angles today? Take pictures, upload them. Maybe you have a Jamboard and people are just uploading their pictures all day. Maybe you're going to do nothing academic, but what's for dinner? Those Instagram pictures, and they always try to stage the food so it looks so good. And so I'll have people do that. And I've had them do it with SpaghettiOs and a piece of white bread. And they're trying to make the best picture, and then we vote on who's got the best dinner. It sounds kind of corny, but we had fun with that. So don't be afraid of pictures and videos of yourself. Although, again, I'm not doing it because I'm going back and forth in this presentation between different links. Communicate regularly, announcements and individual communication. And with that, vary it up. I said in the last professional development, the last series, session 1, that sometimes students get too much email. And so make sure it's important. And that way, if you're selective with when you send emails to students, they will see your name and they will want to open it. And if you can make it personal, that is awesome. Birthday shout outs. Okay. So if you can do birthday shout outs for students, that's a great thing to do too. Just that little recognition. I had people emailing me, thanking me for doing that and showing their parents. And granted, these are 8th graders that were doing it, but at the same time, the recognition was also helpful for my distance learning students. I had one student in particular that every single time that I emailed him, he emailed me so quickly because he was just excited to get that message from me, just checking in on him and seeing how his day went. Create a way for peers to communicate with each other and not just you, and tools for academic sharing. Highly suggest it. Fridays during quarantine, we had Friday social hours, which kind of sounds kind of bad. But basically what we would do is Google Meet. The rule was no school. You could join, but you couldn't talk about school. You could not ask me questions about school. Sometimes I would just sit in the background and the students would just talk to each other. And it would be really funny because they'd be on their phone, Skyping and chatting with each other on their phone and texting. But then they'd also start talking in Google Meet. And it was just kind of awkward sometimes. But they would show up. They loved it. They would ask me when the next one was. They taught me how to play Minecraft. Okay, on one of the Google Meets. They convinced me to try to play Minecraft. I am not very good at it, but it was hilarious. It was fun. And it was a good time. Talking about colleges, talking about sports. If you are a sport ball person, what's the score? Who's doing well? Just having that communication, be part of it, or just kind of sit back and let them talk with each other. But at least you're there as an adult and you can kind of monitor the situation and it's a safe environment. Okay, so these are all different ways. Tech Like a Pirate, Matt Miller, who does Tech Like a Pirate and Ditch That Textbook. I'll have him at the end in the resources. Great idea. He has some really awesome, innovative ways that you can jazz up your distance learning classroom just a little bit.